In the background voice can should have heard how quiet it was before I pushed this button. Okay, let's nail down this thing one more time. Cause it's always been something I mentioned in another note. Let's deal with it directly. This thing, this person you call kid. Okay, let's deal with the first common saying to slap that down. A kid is a goat. It's a derogatory term. It's not nothing you call someone you love jokingly or whatever without thinking about it. You know that's insanely not thinking about something and moving at all is crazy. To move without a plan in your brain, a plan of action, that's insane. To do anything without thinking about it is insane. Just that clear first. Now, this so-called kid thing, or children, or a child. You like putting things in box so that but your thought processes don't even deserve the word. But with this young people, let's call that. Let's call everybody people. All right, a term that is made up that can be used. It doesn't mean anything else. People, young people. Now, been a phenomena going on 100, 200, 300, maybe thousands of years. This phenomena is how to keep young people in check. Okay? It's a standard learned behavior. The game basically, like you've heard, everything you're doing, I already did. You can't tell me nothing. Everything you done, I've already did it a long time ago. You think what you're doing is new? I already did that. There's nothing new to the sun. This couldn't be disproven by a kid, okay? All this time. But now, if you try that on a kid, see, like 30 years, the last kid was born like 30 years ago, at least, okay? Meaning that you can't judge a person by age. You have to judge them by ability. You can't say they're incompetent because they're only this age. Why? Because competency is based on training and knowledge. And some kids are more knowledgeable than some adults. Okay? There's a dumb adult grease monkey who know nothing about cars. And then there's this little bitty kid computer. Who is more capable? Okay, in today's world, who is more knowledgeable? Who has to listen to who? So now what I'm saying is this. The kid can push a button and learn all about auto mechanics. All right? You want to know how people learn things today? YouTube. Anything anybody wants to know, there's a video on it on YouTube. They don't need to call you, call the serviceman, call a teacher, go take classes, go to IT. They don't need any of that anymore. It's all biting the dust. They're barely able to keep the lights on. Now, let's get back to this little people rule. Earlier we were talking about older people, right? You have rules for children that says you're not competent to drive because of these facts. But when you get old, you have them same problems, okay? But no one tells you you're not competent to drive, you competent to get a weapon or any of that. And it's a circle. You end up in a diaper just like you started out in a diaper. And everybody's denying that point about older people, like they supposed to have some powers that children don't, when they don't have any more abilities than a child. And the danger, the reason these rules are put in place, you say, is to protect the child. Whereas them same rules should be put in place to protect old people. All right, they shouldn't be driving if they shouldn't be driving, and they shouldn't be handling a gun if they can't even see good. You mean they shot somebody, the wrong somebody, or if they're having Alzheimer's and they still a license to bear arms. Come on now. There's milk patients out there who legally can own guns, but the child can't own a gun. All right, you understand what I'm saying? The same rules that apply to that child should be based on ability, not that it's a child. No, the child doesn't have enough information in its head yet to do this. Its thought processes don't work, aren't fully developed. Well, the old person's thought processes are dwindling to that same point. And whatever that child is not allowed to do, this old person should not be allowed to do either. And what I'm saying is, if the old person, everyone should be allowed to take a test when it comes to doing anything, not based on the skin they're in. So you got to understand that that's prejudice against children. That's prejudice to say you can't do this thing that anyone else can do because you're only this years old. That's not a good justification. If they can do it, if they can drive in a car, then they should be able to get a license. Now, if you give good reason why that child can't drive that car, then you got a reason why that old person has to get their license revoked. And so here's what you're doing. You're trying to make something because you have a term. You're trying to make a child, okay? When it's a person in development, okay? It's part of the cycle, all right? And you're saying it's a child, so you want to make it a child. You want to retard it, okay? I'll give you a perfect example. You're trained to tell the child, I'm going to withhold this information from you, or withhold, you can't do this activity, or this and this because you are not ready yet. Never able to explain that to the child exactly what you mean about they're not ready. You can't even explain that when you tell them why they're not ready. You end up saying, just do what I say because I'm the adult and because you're a child. That's the justification you give because you're a child. No other good justification for denying them except for because you say so and because they're a child. Something someone made up. Okay? It's not a natural thing. Whatever language it's from, these people were here before they made up that word. So it can't be what they are. We're not going to get into the God term and the Greeks and God being here before Greeks. So why are you calling him a Greek word? A word you had to wait for the Greeks to come along to name God. That's why you call him God. The word wasn't even made for what you're thinking. In the same way with child. Okay, this is a person in development. Now here we go. Here's how you retard them. You tell them, I know you see that, but I'm gonna stand in front of you where you can't see it. I'm gonna blind you from it and cut you off from it. It's out here in the real world, but I'm gonna shield you from it where you can't see it or think about it. I don't want you thinking about that. That's insane. They must deal and learn to live in their own world. If they ever escape you or run away or get out of your clutches, they're gonna be like this poodle. See, the poodle was kept in the house all the time, cared for, manicured, trimmed, everything, but never let outside. And one day the door was cracked, and the poodle ran outside, and the poodle didn't get but a couple of blocks before all four paws of the poodle were bleeding because it had never walked on the real ground. That's what you're doing to your child by handicapping and retarding them, calling yourself shielding them from the real world. They're not ready to know this yet. Why? Because someone told you that, or because you didn't learn it to such and such, or some other insane reason, and it's not a good justification. I'm going to get to some serious points here in a minute, and I'm setting you up for it. Now, the child, because it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks, it has to be set up. Because if I had just came out and said it, you will know why I didn't just come out and say it. Now, so this so-called child, you're telling it it's not ready, and you're retarding it, and the end result is it won't be ready. Okay, because you're holding it back. Now, in its own natural development, scientists have said you can teach a child to fly a fighter at 3 years old. You can teach a child anything before the age of 7. because the world do things to them where they don't learn as fast or good or as great. This child thing gets through on them, and it stifles their development. But before that, scientists had already tested them that they can do anything that you can do and greater if you didn't just teach them how to do. You come here in a bag of water. You already can swim. They teach this out of you. Now someone has to teach you how to swim. And you came here breathing in water. See how the process is? Now, that's more than retardation. Okay, that's more than retarding something. You know what retarding something is. You know, like what the firemen do when they hold the fire means to hold something back, to push it back even, to stifle its growth. This fire must not pass any further fast than this line. We must retard it right here. We must push this fire back, hold this fire back. All right. Now, so you're retarding your child because no one gave you a book like they did with your car and your VCR. Your child didn't come with a manual, so you really don't know what you're doing. And you got some pre-programmed thought in your head that you think is the original thought of how you're going to do a better job than your parents did. And you don't know where this thought came from. You think you thought of it. It's funny because everybody else seemed to have the same thought. Does that seem natural to you? That everybody thinking the same exact thing as you, and you claim to be original? I? But that's another story. Let's stay on point. The young person. I'm gonna give you the most dramatic version of it. Let's take the female. I don't know who these people were who made the rules that you go by when it comes to your offspring, but they're all messed up. Say you're a religious person. Say that you believe in God. You know my standing on all that and all that, but let's just say it's so because for some of you it's so. Here's a situation where man says your offspring can't do any of these things till it's 18 years old. But nature, God, and your child's body says something different. Here's what your child's body says. Here's what your daughter's body says. When she becomes 14 years old, 13, 14 years old, she can have children and start a family. This is the way God designed her. Now you're going to make her wait 5 more years because some man told you to. But right in front of your eyes, you see she has her period, and you're gonna tell her that doesn't mean anything. You still can't have, ain't supposed to have sex, huh? Oh, you know, but you writing the rules now instead of God, right? Instead of nature, instead of her body, you're gonna tell her a lie, because the reality is right there. She can have a kid right now, get pregnant, have a kid. Anybody can see that, okay? But you're telling them that's not true because someone told you that. All right, and you're going to retard her for 5 more years, you think. But teenage pregnancy says, to hell with what man says. Nature, God, and your physical self and hormones you're going to become a mommy anyway. Now, you know what? You're a mommy. Your child's a mommy. And guess what? They're not ready because they wasn't ready for that. Because you didn't get them ready. Your job was to prepare them for the world and for this and to get them ready. And you were steady telling them they weren't ready and being lazy and not preparing them. It's easier not to teach them everything. That's hard work. It's easier to just brush them off. Just say, we'll talk about it later. That's called procrastination. You know the word, and if you don't, Google it. You'll know the act when you see the definition. You'll see yourself like a mirror later, tomorrow, down the line. So now your kid's not ready because you didn't get them ready for the world, ready on their own, nothing. Some kids are in the room with their brothers and sisters until they leave home. They never even had their own room. How can they have their own apartment? Didn't even get a chance to practice with their own room. How could for an apartment? They're bound to be coming back home with the kids. Yeah, you see it every other house. Like the parent feel like the kid's broken and couldn't make it. Because why? Because they know why. When you leave home, your parents are so scared you're gonna die. Why? Because they didn't tell you this, and they didn't get to tell you that, and they didn't get to tell you this, and they didn't get to tell you that. No one talks about it, but this is what they all go through. That's why they're so prepared. That's why they be helping you. That's why they be giving you assistance. Because they know they didn't teach you how to fly and leave the nest. Only dad is faking the funk because he talks a good game. Like you're supposed to fly on your own. And so, but he's trying to buy his way out the situation by providing you with money to go out here and do it on your own that you were supposed to be earning yourself. But every time you fall and you don't you got money management skills because they didn't teach you money management skills. Um, but that's another story. We're going too fast. That's another story. We end up talking about adults, not young people. Okay? Their math. When parents start seeing they could not help their kids with their homework, that's when it started to change. That's when this picture start. You can't tell a kid, um, everything you're doing, I already did. No, Dad, I don't think so. It didn't exist. You really rode a hoverboard, right? I don't think so. Do you know what it's like to be addicted to a cell phone, Dad? Do you know that's what all my friends got? Did you guys deal with that? This is new to you, or you would know what to do, but you don't. So, and so the kid is hitting the parents for the first time with questions they can't answer. Parents are doing things they parents never got a chance to do, like say, I don't know. See, old school parents would never say that. They're gonna give you some explanation. I don't care if they have to make it up off the top of their head. They're going to give you some explanation. They're not going to admit they don't know because they're steady feeling you. Everything you think about learning, I already know. All right? They're the next generation after that. I walked 20 miles in the snow uphill to go to school. See, that's your grandpa, okay? But now it may be your great grandpa because things are moving and they know when this note's going to hit. So, little people, as you want to call them, people in development, should be judged based on their abilities. The kid could have a 300 IQ, and you telling it can't have a job. There's a whole bunch of companies out there that beg to differ with you. If you get out the way, we're going to hire this kid, okay? And so you're going to tell them, yeah, it'd be 15 to get a work permit. Kid's been working with its dad since it was 5 years old. Knows how to do the job better than you, but it can't work, can't get paid. That's insane. You cannot let someone have a pass based on their age, and you cannot hold someone's age against you. Them, it is illegal. It is prejudicial. It is straight prejudicial. You wouldn't let someone, come on now. It scares you for me to be saying that you should regulate the elderly. Ooh, regulate the elderly. Ooh, my mom, my grandma, they earn the right to do whatever they want to do, no matter how insane it is. Nah, that's just the way you feel. Okay, that's not what. That's not how it works. That's just the way everyone feels. Now, you wouldn't say, "Hey, my child has earned the right to do whatever they want to do, regardless of the rules, and they could be wrong because they're my child." But that's what you say about your mom and your grandma. You know, it's all in our programming. Okay, it's all. See, when I call something programming, they're the pieces of information that you didn't look out and see and reach out and grab and put in your own head. They are the pieces put in by someone else. Okay? I have another term for when you do it yourself. But until there's that little C behind it, and a date, I can't just be throwing out words that that have not been copyrighted or are trademarked, or I have to be careful about a lot of things. So these words, the two broken jaws, the dental problems, the extreme cold. Now, this is going to sound crazy how keep mentioning the cold when it'll probably be blazing hot summer when you hear this. Uh, um, and I don't know how that's gonna go off. It's like I tell the rappers, quit saying for the 209 and the 210 because when 211 come, your record's old. Your record's not gonna last forever because you dated it when you said that. All right. No one's going to be going around playing a record in 2017 and you keep saying for the 2012. It makes them seem like they're in the past. Or, oh, that's not, you know what I'm saying? That's why new music don't last as long as old music. You never heard someone back in the day, Marvin Gaye or Michael Jackson, at the end of their song saying, "Yeah, for the 1979." No, it's like, wow, it's a joke, man. It's not even music, man. I know I sound like the old people. Oh, yeah, I am one of the old people. But as one of my stripper friends said way back in the day, if you can beat me rocking, you can have my chair. I'll pack and get the hell away from here. But I don't think that's going to happen. So, like I said, you shouldn't be going by age. Because if you 15 years old, okay? And I'm 50 years old. But you can't beat me running, jumping, hitting a baseball bat, playing basketball, or anything else. What are you talking about? If you don't even look better than me, you even keep it superficial. If you're not better than me, no way. How is your age an advantage and mine a disadvantage? Where is the disadvantage at? So, there's many who try to judge me by my age. This is why I'm running. That's why I'm flying the flag for the young, because I see it. I see what goes down with the elderly. I see the in between. I see everyone. But here's a group with no one to defend them. No one's fighting for their rights. All right? The people who are supposed to be fighting for their rights are a bunch of demented sickos on some vendetta called CPS. A bunch of previous rape victims and people who regret the fact that they done committed crimes against children and caught itself trying to make up for it. It takes one to know one, and old blue-haired people who can't have sex no more, and all they think about is sex, and they think all you're doing is thinking about sex. This organization has to be replaced, revamped, and everyone who steps in it has to go through extreme scanning and scrutiny. It's not a job for everyone. It is too dangerous playing around with the American family structure, ripping it apart just because you got your panties in a bunch that day. To give anyone that power is insane of you. I've seen them. I've seen them come rip up innocent people and say, oops, my bad. Here, they give us money to put you back together when we do this. We thought. No, they get paid both ways to do the whole process, to rip you apart and put you back together. But you're never all the way back together after that. Your family never the same. They put gaps and wedges in between and all kinds of things. Foster care. Oh wow. I went to a foster home. I didn't want to come back home. Do you understand? And then I was at a foster home where I was gonna die if I don't get out of there and get back home. So you never know what you're gonna get, but you're not gonna be the same. Now, kids come back wanting things that you can't afford, or or go with a new set of rules other than the ones you taught them. Well, at the foster home, we used to. Oh, this is an argument ready to brew. Now we arguing. Oh, they're watching us. We're on probation for to be a family. This is still the same subject when we're talking about children. Okay, that place is that organization is no joke. I know what it was created for, and I know what it's become. All right, it's become the Gestapo. People on an ego trip. Go in there, take a look at them. I challenge you to find one person on staff without serious mental issues. I challenge you. Find me one. There's some real deviants in that agency, or I would not keep singling them out. They are a threat to your child and your family. There are people in their employment. You know, there's all kind of fetishes in the world. Another word for some real sick shit. All right. Um, People who get off on molestation stories, and your child's at this person's desk telling the story, and when they want them to, and they encourage them to spice it up because they're getting off on it, probably even recording it for later on masturbation. You'll see it, and if you know any sickos in your family, which we all have one, just like everybody got a drug addict in their family, you'll be able to spot them. You'll be able to spot the nutcase, the sicko, the one on the Vendetta revenge thing. You'll be able to spot them all. A liar thinks everybody lying. Okay, you'll be able to spot the people who have sex on the brain and think everyone else does. You'll be able to identify everything. But that's almost getting off the subject. Let's get back to the young people. These rules cannot be set on someone's age. That's discrimination. It's illegal. Okay? They must be allowed to take any test at any age to show their proficiency at something. And if they pass, they must be allowed to do it, even govern themselves. Because things have changed since the people put these rules down. And we have to go back and check every last one of them. You know what I found on the law books in Kings County? That they will take you to jail if your child is playing in a mud puddle and you go to stop your child. It is illegal to stop a child from playing in a mud puddle. They will incarcerate you. It's on the books. You know what else is on their books? Interfering with the flight of a pigeon. Pigeons have the right of way. You do anything to make a pigeon have to veer off, or do anything to a pigeon, interfere with that path. If a pigeon is coming and you're coming too, you better move out the way, even if you're in a car. Because if the pigeon hit you, you're going to jail. So crazy people have made laws. Know that this is a fact. This ain't just me saying some cool stuff. And I don't even want to dare to say most of the laws. But you think about the fact that I'm stating that everybody has issues and the whole world is insane and been this way for thousands of years, then that implies some other things too. such as the rule makers, the scientists, the inventors. The world is full of things that might not be sane, kind of suicidal, but they didn't know what they were doing, right? See, that's the definition of insane, to not know the consequences of your actions. People get off from murder. People get off murder charges by reason of insanity if they can prove they didn't know the consequences of their actions. I blacked out. You understand what I'm saying? So you're saying that these people have created these insane things that's killing everyone, and they're not responsible because they didn't know what they were doing. Then, okay, we'll let them off that charge. But they still have to take the charge of being insane, which means they're fired. They're done. So I think you better leave that choice up to them, which one they want. I think they rather take the blame and try to correct the problem in their brain too. Because fired is like death nowadays to people. It's like, without income, I'll die. It takes money to live. That's not true, and that's another note. We have to get back to the path of the children. These are related to the children when you talk about family and other things. Everything's related to the children. Remember, this is how it works. You forget who rules this world, see? You're thinking it's that old gray haired guy who's been doing it for 80 years and his name is on everything. You think that's who runs the world, don't you? You think that's the big boss. Wrong. It's that little tiny baby kid that you don't almost count and you don't really see. Oh, how cute for a cute few seconds, right? In a stroller or whatever. That kid rules the world. This is how it works. That kid dictates to its mom what to do. It controls this woman, okay? What it wants and cries for, this woman, for her own sanity, has to provide. Because there's things inside her body and head and all this here when she cannot stop this thing from crying. All right. Now, so it controls the woman. Now, the woman controls the man because he cannot live without what she has. He's addicted to her and what she has. So the kid says, this is in, this is what I want. The mom says to the dad, this is what we got to have. This is what you got to get. And the kid dictates everything. Hula hoop in, hula hoop out. Hoverboard in, hoverboard out. Skateboard in, skateboard out. They decide who's going to be rich this year. They decide who's going to be. They made Google rich. They made Google the biggest. Okay? They decide everything. So whoever has control of the children has control of the world. Now you see the Pied Piper. It's not about pedophile or some other thing. The preoccupation with children is a strategy. The wisest, the wisest moves. And you've seen it done by many, but never this well. So now let me finish what I've been doing. Make them love me more for defending their rights and standing up for them. See, even with this note, I'm pulling them closer. It's the Pied Piper. You said the world is full of rats. We don't know what to do. And Miracle Man shows up and starts getting rid of all your problems. And then after the problems go on, they say, well, hey, We got all his ideas now, what we need him for, or something to that effect. And he plays his magic flute and leads all your children away. You know that story? We're in the middle of it, and someone owes big time, and they better pay the piper. Well, let's get back to the point, because by the time this note is heard, I'm pretty sure the piper will be have been paid. This just at this point, he has reservations about that. Now, let's get back to the main focus of this. What I said about the daughter and her not being ready, so some predator guy can come along and take advantage of her because she didn't learn this, she didn't learn that, her mom didn't prepare her for that, she didn't even want to discuss it with it. You know the saying that's been going on, got to be over 100 years. Nobody's parents used to teach them about sex. All right, they just learned it however they learned it. Well, hey, guess what else is different? Man, the people you call young people, man, they don't only discuss sex with their kids. Man, that's a subject for another note. That's a subject for another note. You got people trying to hang and party with their kids like they're still a kid. That's the generation that popped out last. Okay? They're out there listening to the same music their kid listening to. I don't know what you're talking about. You know? That's how they talk. And they stretch across a 20, 30-year gap. These parents. And they're still all in that same mode. It's like, hey, age is just a number. That's the program they're running. And so, but then when it comes to the young person, age is not just a number no more. Okay? It's just walls and blocks and boundaries and restrictions. You want to keep them chained and keep control of them till they're 18. And you got paperwork that says you own them till then. That's not right either. You don't own this person. I know you think you do, but later on you'll get your heart broke because it's not a mini me here to serve your will and wishes for it. You can wish whatever you want for your child, but your child's going to grow up and have its own wishes and pursue those wishes. And you can get your heart broke like everybody else. Now, if you have money, you can bribe your kid into pursuing the occupation and dream that you is for fear they're going to get cut off from the magic source. All right? But you're going to hate you, and one day they're going to say, F you anyway, and your money. I've seen it happen over and over and over. You know how many rich kids is out here just broke because they rather be broke than take the crap in one more day. They say it a million different ways, but it means the same thing. And this is your child. All right, let's back all the way up. Not only that, you lie to your parents. You make up fairy tales for your parents, even to surprise them or give them a good time. Do you make up la-di-da stuff for your parents? Do you make is deception a game you play with your parents? No, but here, it's a game you play with your child, and it calls subconscious resentment. You're gonna be arguing with a teenager because you made this move. Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, and shall I go on? These are all lies. What you thought were harmless lies, games, fun activities to play with your child. You practice deception, deceiving them, telling them something that wasn't true. And when they mature, this comes out. Now, no matter how they behave openly, you'll see their action come out. They'll rebel against you. Now, it's written in the books. At a certain age, kids just rebel. There's no jest. There's an idiot who wrote a book who don't know why the phenomena is happening. talking about jest. They don't just rebel. I'm telling you what's happening. In the back of their mind, you lied to me. I trusted you. I never would have thought you would lie to me or deceive me in nowhere. I'd put my life in your hands to defend me. I always came to you. Now I see you're just like everybody else. You just showed me that you'll lie to me over and over and you'll trick and deceive me and you showed me you ain't 1,000% on my side. You act like my enemy sometimes. You do things that an enemy would do. And you're trying to hold me back. And that's against my nature. I don't like nothing. Do you want to be chained back or held back? And so now you got a child who's supposed to love you, hating you, resenting you. And you're sitting over there talking about, what did I do? I try to do the best I can. You let someone else tell you what to do, set all the rules, instead of using your own experience yourself to rewrite the book. You should have went by what you didn't like about being a child and what you loved about being a child and what went down with you that you're trying to avoid and concentrate on how many ways can I avoid this. Now you may have thought about it, but it's that second part that concentrate on actual actions. You may have read a few, or people don't read books anymore. Well, look, I'm telling you what's going down. You see that move right there that I just showed you. The lying to your kid in the back of their mind is a lie when they're a teenager. It isn't a cute little game you played. It's like, oh, wow, you're in for a big upset. This is how they're looking at the little kids. You're about in for a big disappointment, man. I can't believe they're doing this to you. Anyway, I'm sworn to secrecy. I can't tell you. It's part of the game. And you teach the child to lie. But you don't teach your kid to lie, do you? That's a lie right there. You teaching your kid to lie. But you'll claim you're not teaching your kid anything bad and they didn't get anything bad from you. Tell them I'm not here is a lie. If you instruct your kid to lie to another person about whether you're home or not, or could come to the phone or whatever, that's a lie. You're teaching your kid to lie over and over and over everywhere you look. It's okay to lie sometimes. And what's that other one they throw out? A little white lie. I mean, a lie's a lie, a lie's a lie, a big lie and a little lie. There's no such damn thing. It's just a lie. It's like I was only, I just. It's supposed to make whatever come after that seem like it's not such a big deal. So they start off with, all I did was, I was only, I just. And then the part that comes after that that they should have just said in the first place. Well, let's get back on the point. Teaching your kid to lie. Lying to your kid. Planting the seed of distrust between you. They don't trust you, now they challenge your word. That's an argument. You say something and they call you a lie. Oh, it's on. You come from a time where we weren't allowed to tell our parents they were lying. You liable to get killed, especially on my side of the tracks. You couldn't even tell them, no, you're telling a story. No, you'll get knocked out, okay? They could be wrong and you can know they're wrong, but you better not say it. You could die today because they also told you, I brought you in this world, I'll take you out. And you believed them. I don't know what kind of abuse that is. But anyway, back to this point. So, the lying thing. So, you can't raise them now not to be a liar. It's too late for that. It's one mark against them, they haven't even got out their nest yet. whether they're going to be a decent individual or whole or whatever. Because remember this, now you've made them insane. A lie is the opposite of reality, okay? Being out of touch with reality is insane. Practicing putting someone out of touch with reality, practicing lying is insane. Now you made them not only insane but a spreader of the mental illness. They're a carrier now, out to spread it out in the world when they go. So you made them a carrier, passing on your tradition of lying. It's a tradition. Okay, all right. You said it's harmless, huh? Because of your greed. Your greed. You like the games and the festivities. You like to eat like a greedy animal. You like the gift giving. You like that. And all them things are cool, okay? You ain't got to lie to do them, though. You can have family day on Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? You can have gift day on Christmas. You don't have to make up all these lies to support it. Hiding money and eggs. Bunnies don't lay eggs. You're making your child crazy and you're not thinking about it. There are no 7 foot big birds. You're not thinking about the characters you're making. You're letting your kid identify a piece of toast with a living creature. That's cannibalism. That's horrible. You're making it a meat eater. It'll never be a vegetarian because the cinnamon toast has eyeballs and legs and arms. The cereal can talk. So it has no respect for eating or killing anything just because it's a living creature and it has eyeballs and legs and arms and it can walk and talk. That's never going to cross its mind that eating meat is wrong and killing animals is wrong. It's going to think it's natural just like you. It's going to be insane just like you. You want to talk about the child, as you call it? Let's keep on talking then. Because we're almost up to an hour. Let's keep talking. If you can watch a movie for 118, then you can listen about your child for 118. Or that's another sign of another mental illness. Now, let's take back what everybody should know by now. Them original notes that I published maybe 35 years ago. Okay, there are points in there. Back when, just like me telling you, don't just do something, stand there. The longer you think about that, if you attempt it, you're going to find the benefits in it. Your nerves problems are going to go away. Now, let's get stay on the young person. Let's go back to their arrival. First mistake. Because here now you have a drug addict teenager, an alcoholic teenager, and you saying someone else did this. That is not your fault. You're trying to fix it, do whatever you can to deal with it. I don't know why it's happening, is what you're saying. Now that's closer to the truth, because you don't know. Because actually, it was done by you, and you allowed it to be done right in front of you. Let me explain the process. A baby is born. It has a learning process that can be measured. The first thing a baby learns is its mother's smile. It's the first thing a baby recognizes is the smile of its mother, and that mommy smiling is good. Every time I see mommy smiling, good things happen. I get to eat, they get the boo boo off me. Every time mommy's smiling, something's good gonna happen. I get new clothes, something's good. It learns quick. It learns a lot of things. It recognizes when mommy's sad, happy, and all that. When mommy's smiling means good. Okay? And then it associates smiling with good because when mommy's doing it, it's good. So anybody smiling must be good. Here comes uncle, dad, grandpa, and a few aunts too. I don't want to make them exempt like women didn't play a part in this because the other notes give that impression. Because I only mentioned the males because this is a common move for them to grab your child. Now, women are guilty of this first part. Spin around in a circle with your child in their arms. Oh, they're so cute. Okay? Now, the man may even toss the child up and spin the child around. Now, the child is dizzy as I don't know what because you spent the round and they get dizzier a lot easier than you. Okay? Now, the child is dizzy because you spent the round. But auntie's smiling, uncle's smiling, dad's smiling. I don't know what they kind of fun game they think this is to make a child dizzy and toss it up in the air or spin it around. Who taught them that and where did they get it from? I don't know. But here's what they've done. It is a grievous thing that they've just done. And it's not a game. And I don't know why they're smiling. Now, the child. Now the child has associated dizziness with good, with fun, as you call it. I'm dizzy as hell, but everybody's smiling. It must be a good thing. Okay? Excuse the train in the background. I'm telling you, rewind. If the same occurring thought, unrelated thought pops to your mind, subliminals planted in the sounds behind. But we'll be already scanning this note before then. Back to the child. Back to the situation. Spin the child around. Makes it dizzy. It's already learned that smiling means good. So now you're smiling, it thinks being dizzy is good. So it smiles back. I'm dizzy, yeah, but I'm smiling because you're smiling. Ooh, what is this? I can't see good, but hey, if you say it's okay, because I don't know nothing yet, I'm a baby. Baby grows up. You buy it swings and toys that also swing it and give it this feeling of woo, loving the feeling of falling, loving the feeling of being dizzy, all right, for fun. Then you take the baby, the child as you call it, to the fair and you strap it in machines that flip it this way, flip it that way, swing it this way, and every time the goal is the same. It comes out so dizzy it can't hardly walk. And we're here to have fun. Now it's confirmed that dizzy is fun. It's confirmed and locked in now because they have machines designed just to do that one thing, make you dizzy. And we paid money for it. And everyone's smiling. Now you taught them that dizzy is fun. You've confirmed that dizzy is fun. Now I call my witnesses. Anyone who does any drug at all, alcohol or whatever, knows this fact. Everyone who does drugs knows that the drug is rated by how dizzy it makes you. The dizzier it makes you, the better the shiznick is. Like, woo, I almost fell out. That's the good stuff. Ask anybody. Ask anybody that it's rated by how dizzy it makes you. So now when your kid starts doing this or doing that, drinking or alcohol or do whatever in search of dizziness for recreation, you're claiming you had nothing to do with it. When it was you who did it or allowed it to be done on your watch. But you didn't know what you were doing. I didn't know nothing about that. I told you about that claiming you don't know. You are confirming the fact that you're insane. To move and not think about what the outcome is going to be or to not be able to foresee the outcome is insane. To not know the consequences of your actions. to not know if you knock a glass off the table, it's going to break and scatter all over the floor. That's insane. For you to claim that you didn't know what you were doing about any action makes you legally insane. So, now, you made him a liar and an alcoholic, drug addict prone thing, and a failure because they wasn't properly prepared for life because you wanted to keep them a child, not make them an adult. Okay, and you had your own skill about what they need to know at what age. And everyone, no, I haven't found no standard for it. I see everyone playing this game, but there's no standard that says, well, tell them this at 12, tell them this at 11, tell them this at 14, tell them this at 15. There's no scale set nowhere, but everyone's playing the same damn game. And they can't say for sure what's the right age you're supposed to tell them what. Then how the hell are you doing it if you don't know what the hell you're doing? Why are you doing it? Good question, yeah. The answer is always the same. The mental illness was spread to you at some point. It was put in your head from outside. You wasn't born to do this way. You don't mean your child no harm. You were not aware of the consequences of your action, and it's not your fault. Someone made you that way. You were once a child who didn't know nothing. Everything you do, someone taught you, influenced you, and put in your head. It's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be you saw what was here, and this is what you decided to do with what you saw and heard. It's not, no, hey, I was born for this. It's a gift from God. No, these are the gifts and skills I've attained. Here's what I want to use them for. And if they're good, it's good. Don't lie on God. God ain't tore the clouds open and told you nothing. So, back to the children. You screwed them up, and someone screwed you up. Now you're beginning to realize not just what you did to the child, but what was done to you. It's a double win. I'm trying to give you the solution. I'm trying to give you the remedy. Remove these man made rules. Let nature take its course. We found this out while I was doing an experiment on other people's children and other people's houses and families. I'm visiting my son, and my granddaughter picks up a curtain rod with a jagged, sharp edge on the end of it. She's not even 2, and she's swinging it. I let her keep it. I let her keep it. She showed she could handle it. She didn't hit me in the eye. She didn't break nothing. She didn't slap anything off the table like we feared that they would do. Okay? That's why we won't even give them a chance. My son peeped it. He don't want to act slow. So he just kind of let it go. Next, I gave her a sharp pencil with an eraser on it. Something you would never give a baby. A sharp object. She learned how to write and draw and everything before your child because she had that sharp object. And she didn't poke her eye out, stab anybody, or none. You cannot go by imaginary fears. You have to deal with what is. And if you don't test it, how do you know what is? Where your judgment is based on. It's not based on any real facts, any real research, any real investigation. It's based on somebody told me, I think, an opinion? No. You're going to bet your child's life on an opinion. You are insane. So the moral of the story is you don't know what they can do unless you give them a test. I'm not saying don't be right there to catch them in case they fall off of the roof. I'm saying don't try to stop them from going up on the roof. No matter how scared you are in your imagination, kids jump off the roof. And some do break their arm. I've never seen anybody jump off the roof and die, though. It just hasn't happened. I'm not saying it can't happen. They've been jumping off the roof for 100 years, and I never seen a news article say kid jumps off roof and kills himself. No. Fall out of trees, break an arm, that's more common than getting hurt jumping off the roof. But in your mind, you see horror stories, and you're going to hold them back and retard them. You're not even going to let the little kid go up the steps. Oh, you stay away from those stairs. Oh my God. And the kid's looking at you like, I can do this if you give me a chance. I know more than you think I do, more than I can explain to you, because you haven't taught me enough words yet. But in my head, I can see stuff. This young person that you want to call a kid, a child, and hold back, and all these mentally ill emotions, it's, it's holding the world back, okay? People have been telling you for 4 generations. People used to be more mature at an earlier age. And you unmatured them to now got a bunch of grown ass children, 30-year-old losers, can't even make their way in the world or take care of their kids or nothing. Now, because you didn't do the work at first, you got double the work because you try to take care of, see about them and your grandkids. You should have just did the preventive fucking living, you know? Should have did the preventive parenting. You should have just did the work in the first place. It would have saved you a lot of money. It would have saved you a lot of stress. These rules have to be moved and they have to be balanced, which means you cannot have a rule for one person that does not apply to everyone. If you're old, listen what I'm saying. Let's take out the children and the old people right now and deal with this middle group before I close this note, because it's over an hour. The driver's test for driving an automobile, this process is a joke. No one's going to be out there reading an eye test. It doesn't prove they can drive. You're supposed to have them reading signs, dealing with situations. It's supposed to be a simulator they have to get in before you renew their license. Everyone must step in the driving simulator. And then a real life driver's test. Not every 4 years. I mentioned this earlier. Things happen to people over a 4-year period. Their eyes go bad. They get sick. They get nervous conditions, and they got a license that they can still drive, but they only got one eye now and they can't see good. But my license don't expire for another 3 years. No, everyone should be tested every year, at least. Matter of fact, a car should be set up like I said in the other note, where like a breathalyzer. When you get in this car, that car should check you to see if you're competent to drive this vehicle before it starts. Not just, based on your age. If the kid can drive the car, let the kid drive the car. If the old man can't drive the car, he shouldn't drive the car. Everything, all laws, all rules should be based on abilities, nothing on age, nothing on race. It should be nothing. See, that's prejudice I keep mentioning. To judge someone because they're small. Oh, does those rules for children apply to midgets? Even that term midget is ugly. Little people. We got height requirements. We don't make doors for you and couches for you and chairs for you or cars for you or nothing for you. We acknowledge you live in the world, but we don't make stuff for you. And so they're not making them for children, so children can't do it. But someone is lying. Because I remember when the Hot Wheel cars came on the scene and little kids learned to drive. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. The little kids are driving around in cars. And just like you, it took them a minute to get it. But they proved they can drive. They prove you can teach a kid to drive. Just like teaching to ride a bike or fly an airplane. If he can play that video game, he can navigate this battle cruiser, fly this airplane. He can run this pizza shop. All those games they're playing are simulators. They can do things you can't do. You don't have the hand-eye coordination. And you didn't learn the ins and out of it from a game. They didn't hear what you said, but they remember the game. They don't remember the lesson they were taught in school, but they remember the song. So don't ask me why I'm singing. They don't remember what they were trying to give them in church, but they remember the movie. Don't ask me why I'm acting. Don't question me at all. You're not in a position to. I do things that do not match. There are people over here in which sex is a bait for them, and I'm going to use sex as a bait for them. And then there's people over here that candy is a bait for them. There are children. You're going to say, how are you going to be over here in the pornography world and be over with your children too? You don't worry about how I be, where I be, when I be, what I be. You're not competent to judge me on no level if you have not learned that yet. I'm doing what needs to be done. What are you doing? You need to be one of the ones.